This is Tawny from Healing Heart Vitamins and Health Food, and today our segment is on sweet potato. So, sweet potato is the smart carb choice. Now, it can be a little bit confusing when you go shopping for sweet potato, because many times we will see sweet potatoes labeled as yams. So we are wondering, which one do you go for? Well, basically in the United States, we just have sweet potatoes. Yams are indigenous mostly to Africa and Asia. Back in 1937, when the bright orange, fleshy colored sweet potato was introduced, marketers and producers didn't know, well, they wanted to distinguish that from the white fleshed sweet potato, and how they did that was they decided to call it a yam. So just so you know, they are both sweet potatoes. And the orange fleshy sweet potato tends to be a little bit higher in nutrition than the white flesh, just in that orange pigment is giving you about 400% of your beta carotene vitamin A over the daily recommended amount of that. So it has a ton of vitamin A in it and beta carotene, which is giving it that color. Now, both regular potatoes and sweet potatoes are packed with nutrition, but there are a few things that distinguish the sweet potato that make it the wiser choice. And one of those would be the vitamin A content. Sweet potatoes are low glycemic. Regular potatoes are high on the glycemic index. Sweet potatoes pack more fiber than the white counterpart potato, although there still is fiber in them. And also more vitamin C in the sweet potato than the regular potato, and the sweet potato is more anti-inflammatory, whereas the regular potato is moderately inflammatory. So those are a few key differences that make the sweet potato shine over the regular potato.
If you had arthritis, would you say the sweet potato will be better for you?
Considering arthritis is an inflammatory condition, yes, you would want to eliminate as many inflammatory foods out of your diet as possible and incorporate much less inflammatory foods. So the sweet potato is very anti-inflammatory, along with broccoli, cauliflower, kale. Those are the types of foods that you'd want to incorporate in your diet. So sweet potato would definitely be beneficial, whereas the white potato would increase inflammation slightly. They're moderately inflammatory, as I mentioned. So yeah, I would reach for the sweet potato.
What about the difference between, you were saying that a sweet potato is a root?
Yes, a sweet potato is a root vegetable, and a regular potato is a tuber. So they're fairly similar and starchy, but one is considered a root, and the other being a tuber comes from the nightshade family. And some people who are have compromised digestive systems or many food allergies can be allergic to some of the nightshades, and so white potatoes, regular potatoes, fall into that category.
And being a root for a sweet potato means more nutrients, or is just that it's just a root?
Just that it's a root, really. Obviously, between the two, as I mentioned, there are some more, the sweet potato is a little bit more nutrient dense than the white potato, and even offering more fiber, as mentioned before, but still both are a good option. One's just technically a root and one's a tuber.
When you cook the sweet potato versus the white potato, does the nutrients come out of the sweet potato? Is there a way to keep the best to cook the sweet potato, or is it just cook it and it's still the same?
As far as I know, pretty much cook it and it's still the same. There's so many ways that you can work with the sweet potato. It's so versatile, which makes it really fun. And because it is so packed with fiber and anti-inflammatory, there's so many different ways that you want to work with it. You can make it, and with it being sweet, not necessarily sweet, just a little bit of that sweetness, it works really well, both savory and sweet. So you can do dessert dishes with the sweet potato, like the sweet potato pie is probably the most popular, or you can work with more savory dishes. You can make it into a pasta. You could bake it, simply bake it just the same way you would a regular potato. There's many different ways. You do muffins. It's such a nutrient-dense superfood, really, that fuels your body and your muscles with energy, that you really working with it. So
would you say after a good run or a good hike, if you eat a sweet potato, it boosts the levels back up, or? Yes,
exactly. That's one of the best. Sweet potatoes would be one of the best options, especially because it's such a good carbohydrate. Again, that's going to fuel the muscles and the cells. It's one of the best ways to refuel post-workout, because you typically want to go for carbs when you've done really hard training, you know, so it's one of the best carbs to go to. That'll wrap up this segment of the sweet potato, and we'll be back to talk about some more.